I think you've all had an opportunity to review the minutes from last month's meeting. If there's no changes, I'll entertain a motion to approve them as distributed.
Motion that we approve it.
Have a motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Thank you. And one thing, we do have a website, so if folks want to go and view our meetings online, they can go and do that. And we do have the link posted in the agenda for today. Before we go to floor time, Katie, we'll turn the floor over to you. She's going to give a presentation on social media and some of the options we might have to use as a board. So I will move out of the way.
All right. Want to take a light?
That's how I'm not gonna get you.
But I didn't tell you about the spotlight we had.
Oh,
No,
thank
no,
you,
no.
Charlie.
I think we're all about Charlotte.
Little bunny.
Anyone see it okay? Move it over here a little bit?
Yeah, they do.
Okay. So first, I go to SUNY Delhi. My name is Katie Vogel, and I've been doing an independent
Max, you
study.
can come over here, excuse me, Katie, you guys can come over here if you can see better, because they're on that pole.
Sorry.
See?
I put a deodorant on this morning.
Can we put the,
So I'm doing an independent study for social media marketing. So I did the town a little preview of what different municipalities do on their Facebook. You see that? Okay? Not liking it.
No, it's blurry.
Okay.
Well, no, it's just, it doesn't like it, it's blurry. This is what happens when the state buys your equipment. So, social media for municipalities is having an active social media presence with relevant content posted regularly that can help inform your citizens of important town-related information. I hope nobody wants to actually read this.
I'm glad you're reading it to us.
So a lot of different towns do crime prevention tips on their social media accounts. This helps police departments and local governments with time-sensitive information and Amber Alerts to help combat illegal activity and to help catch wanted criminals. I'm so sorry this looks like this. They also do emergency weather alerts and severe weather updates. They can occur quickly with no warning, so social media can help the municipalities communicate safely to people in a short amount of time. Many local governments use social media to remind the community of upcoming activities and to use property requests. Within the social media post, you can link to an online registration form to boost participation and make it easy to sign up. Town hall meetings, you can post the links that we have here that we do the YouTube videos. Or like I was discussing with Lillian, they can do the Facebook Live. A lot of municipalities do public service announcements. Examples of this are general health and safety, fiscal tips from your various departments, and YouTube videos are good ways to help people understand things that are going on within the town. Or you can just even do an ad to Facebook or Twitter, and that can be just as effective. You can also do road construction or road closing updates. Posting about possible delays on routes can avoid tension and help ease citizens' frustration. Also help fill open job positions there's also a little button on Facebook where you can post jobs right on there and people can apply through it. Or you can just have a link to your website that they can apply on. And that is it. Any questions?
Yes.
I'm sorry it looks so terrible.
Let me turn the lights on and we'll.
Okay. It looked much better at school, but I tested it, I did test this. I did.
I think it was the screen up there, that was the problem, the screen.
Yeah, the screen, it was the screen, that's right.
Katie, is there a way to, sometimes comments coming back on Facebook or other social media can be rather rude, meaning, a lot of vitriol. Is there a way of putting information out there?
The only way that I have found to be 100% effective is if you make it a group page. And then you can just turn off your comments, you can censor them. So, if you were to do a business page, like a lot of companies have, you know, or towns usually do a business page, people can still comment on them. So you just make a group page, it's really no difference, it would be in your categories, it'd be in your groups, instead of your businesses or your friends, it'd be in your group, so the group, Town of Walton. And then you can completely control what goes on your page.
So you can shut off the comments completely, or you can say that it has to be reviewed, like I've seen that pending.
Yep, so when you post when you post something, say you're gonna post a job opening, you just click the filter button, that nobody can comment. And that's it.
I mean, that's the only way, I mean, I like the idea, a lot of that, like the road construction and stuff, but I can see it right now, if it's like a regular Facebook page, put on there, we're closing road, and some person's gonna be on there, you know, why the hell are you doing this to this road, you know, and not my road, or, you know, and then it just becomes a nightmare, so. I think it's great for doing information, but I wouldn't want, I'd wanna block comments on it. I'd wanna do it, like you said, with a group page, so.
Now, is there any registration costs or anything associated with a group page?
No.
As I said, the advantage of it is it's another forum to get information out to people, and that's one of the frustrations I think both the village and I know the town has, that we want to share as much information. I don't mind folks calling me on the phone or sending me an email, coming to visit me or saying, Charlie, can we get together? What I am uncomfortable is the risk of suddenly you get some uninformed comments and it becomes real nasty, and or why doesn't the supervisor ever respond to my comment on Facebook? So that's the group, that might be the way to go. Any other thoughts?
I like the idea of being able to put an Amber Alert on the webpage. I never have thought of that. I mean, I don't think there's enough places we can put that out on. PSAs, that's a good idea. I mean, a lot of the other things that you mentioned, we have done, but the ones I noticed that didn't was the Amber Alert, crime prevention, tips, PSAs, and road closings and stuff. But you're talking about that on a Facebook page, or you're talking about that on a web page?
Either.
You could do either one.
Yeah. I think people visit Facebook more often than the webpage.
Mhm.
But we could link Facebook to the
Yeah,
webpage.
you just have a little tab, click on Facebook,
That-
so.
And
again,
vice versa. So if you're in Facebook, you can have a tab that you can get to the web page. If you're on the web page, you have a tab you can get to Facebook.
So board, is this something that you think we should pursue? Are you comfortable exploring with it a bit farther?
I think Kate's right. Facebook can be a powerful tool. It can be a good tool and a bad tool. It depends on how rampant it goes. And I have no problem with people commenting, that's fine. It's how people comment sometimes, and it just runs away. You know, we've all seen that. I'm not interested in doing that and having, because you have a lot of you can have a lot of false information out, and if you don't answer it, then they assume that is right, you know what I mean, and it snowballs, so.
And the problem too is, who amongst the board members is gonna comment back to somebody? I mean, I may comment, and that Patty and Charlie may not feel the same way.
Same way, right.
It should be, whatever comments, if they were made back, should be a board decision, that's what the response is gonna be.
Correct, and that it should be, that we could discuss it first.
before we move forward, I think as part of building it, I'd like to have a policy letter or something that, you know, how long is the data gonna be on site, on the website?
Oh, once it's on there, it's on
Yeah,
there.
who can put it on?
Oh, I actually have for companies that made policies and procedures, we're going through their company
Oh.
handbook that,
Is it, you have a soft copy that you could send
I
us?
do, yeah,
Would you please?
Mhm.
That'd be great, that would give us, something to work off of.
my other rules.
Anything else that, and right now we're talking Facebook, I know there's Twitter and there's other things, I think I'd like to do this, start with Facebook, see how it goes, and, maybe even do it for a trial period for, say, 6 months, and, at the end, decide whether we want to continue or, for whatever reason, just.
But I think that is a very good idea as far as disseminating information. It's a horrible idea, allowing feedback.
Right, so we're not gonna allow
Right.
feedback. I don't know if you heard that before.
No, I
you
was,
know.
I wasn't
Oh,
there.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, we're gonna do a group so the comments are shut off and you can't comment through there.
Yeah.
We can't comment, they can't, nobody
Yeah,
can
yeah.
comment.
Mhm.
It's just information.
Mhm.
And while I have you front and center, Katie, I believe this is your last,
Mm-hmm.
I want to thank you for all the work that you've done in posting things, videotaping, getting the word out. It made a big difference for the folks in Walton, so thank you very much.
Thank
You.
Okay. Floor time, does would anybody like to address the board?
Stacy?
Hi, Lynn. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Just fine.
How's everybody doing tonight? Good.
Well,
My name
well.
is Stacy Stevens, and last year I hosted the first annual Walton Wellness Day, and I would love to ask permission to host the second one. Right now, I'm looking at Saturday, June 9th, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And again, I'd love to use the Veterans Plaza like I did last year. We had an awesome event. Tons of people showed up. I had over 25 vendors. I mean, it was just a great, great day. We had a lot of fun. I already have the application filled out if that's something that you need right now, or I have it
Yeah,
actually.
we
I was gonna
don't
say-
reserve the date, but
Yeah.
as long as there's nothing else on there, which I don't know.
And that's the thing is, if there isn't anything on the calendar, then fantastic, I'd love to stick with that day. If for any reason there is something on the calendar, I'm completely open to switching it to another Saturday. That's perfectly fine.
Okay, and
I
so,
think you're the first request.
Okay.
again, for the video, that's Saturday, June 9th, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Correct.
What are you calling it?
Uh,
Second annual
Second annual Walton Wellness Day.
Walton Wellness Day.
Yes.
And we do require a deposit,
Yep, that's no problem.
okay?
Yep, I will bring in the
Which is
$50. As long as I'm approved and the date's clear and I'm good to go, I'll bring the $50 right in.
I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion made,
Second.
seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Anything else from the floor? If not, we'll move on. Mr. Dutcher, code enforcement, please.
Yes, sir. Oh, let's see, monthly code report. I completed and submitted the annual code report to New York State. It's a much bigger animal this year than it was because of the code changes, but it's not the end. I don't think it wins us any points or anything, but just a way for the state to keep track of what's going on in the overall in the municipalities. As far as CRS goes, annual recertification packet was submitted on 17th of January and approved on the 25th of January, so we're good to go for another year as far as CRS. And I'm marching steadily forward on trying to get us to the next level. Should be a level, excuse me, a level 7, 15% discount on flood insurance. To that end, we're gonna start with trying to identify where we're getting new points. And then once I'm sure that we have, or pretty sure that we're going to get enough points. I'm never sure until I submit it to them. Once I'm sure of that, I'll be approaching the board for a letter of intent to be submitted to FEMA for recertification, so, or class modification, as they call it. I had also sent out a annual summary, mid-month. As far as codes go, as indicated, we're fully into the 2015 edition of the International Building Code at this point, which, by the way, gets us more CRS points. And most of the code training that I received last year was geared towards that adoption of those codes. As far as permits go, annually, we were at 89, which is kind of mid-average of where we are on an annual basis. I think last year was a little bit lower, so we're kind of, things are picking up. And I'm actually starting to get some more permit requests coming in. It's funny, as soon as the weather starts to break in the spring, even if it's a false break, people are ready to start building, so we'll see how this year turns out. It looks like it might be a little bit better year. People are a little more free with their money, I think, maybe, we'll see. Floodplain management. There was a stream bank restoration project completed back in 2013 along East Brook, which is right up, at the edge of the village. We finally, this past year, got the data submitted to FEMA to get the maps changed because with the forward thinking of soil and water, they designed that restoration project such that they could better contain the 100-year flood. And by doing so, and independently verified by the contractor doing the LFA process, confirmed that we basically pulled, I believe it's 5 properties out of the floodplain up in that area by completing that project. So all of that data has been submitted to FEMA to request a map change. I would expect sometime this year. You're never really get a guarantee on time once you submit it, but I would think that it's been in there for probably 4 months now. So I would think that this spring we should hear something from them as to whether or not they're going to approve that. But if they do, that would be good for those 5 property owners up there. Pull them out of the floodplain.
Folks, that's one of the advantages we have by having a floodplain manager, is that by being able to run herd on this, we're actually saving people money, not only by our CRS rating bringing up, going from 10 to 15%, hopefully when we go to 7, but by the reclamation projects that we've done or we're looking to do in the future, that'll have a direct input on pulling people out of the floodplain, which means that it'll be easier for them to sell their homes, buy their homes, improve it. So thank you, Steve, for all that you've done on that.
Yep, and I certainly don't want to oversell that. I don't want people to believe that we're going to get everybody out of the floodplain. But we can, at a minimum, we can impact a lot of folks just by getting that flood level down and making it more reasonable for them to do other mitigations with their properties, whether it's elevator, floodproof, or whatever the case may be. So there's good things to come. So we completed the local flood analysis for the tributaries of East Brook, West Brook, and Third Brook in 2017 and early 2018. As you well know, we adopted both the west branch of the Delaware River and the tributaries LFAs. By adopting those LFAs, that opens up the possibility to access money primarily through CWC for some of these mitigation projects that we want to do. And gives us a very clear path forward. It's kind of you can pick your projects a la carte. If everybody involved is willing to participate, you can move forward on that project with monies available. So I think that's a good thing for both the town and the village, very good thing. thanks to a lot of work by, our supervisor, we got a stream gauge installed on West Brook, this winter. So now the East Brook gauge has been reactivated, the West Brook gauge is up and running, and of course, we've always had the one down on the Delaware River, down on the fairgrounds. So now we have 3 gauges in which we can monitor, water flow, and, which will help us, primarily emergency services, be able to make better decisions in terms of, when we need to move people and what areas we need to move them, so, that's good stuff.
Do we have a link, I think we have a link to those on the town site?
To the gauges,
So
yes.
gauge it, yeah, so folks can go to the town of Walton and click on it and see actually data from those 3 gauges. The Delaware River one actually shows what the warning area is and when the flood area is, so that's kind of a little more colorful, but the other 2 provide valuable information as well, so go to the town of Walton website and you'll be able to see that info. Thanks, Steve, that's good.
Yep, and then lastly, kind of a project that we've been working on, the lower Third Brook, those 2 structures on 757 Lower Third Brook. That project or that grant request passed CWC board last week. We're in the 15-day response period, so come the 25th, I believe it is February 25th, if nobody has a comment, and we don't need to change something there, we should get final approval on that, and then we can move forward on that project. Get those buildings cleaned up.
And the advantage of that is, again, for folks that may have not attended previous meetings, those are 2 structures right along Third Brook. A risk that if we have high water, they could flood, that could wash downstream, plug a bridge, and cause even more flooding downstream. So by taking these structures out, we eliminate the risk of damage to bridges and flooding.
And that's a project that became available because of the LFA, because it was specifically identified as the LFA, it qualified for CWC grant funds, and that's who we went to for the grant funds, so. Alright, I think that's about all I got.
Dog activity, any?
Dog activity is what it is, if Rhonda would stop adding past due ones. The list might actually go someplace. We have made some progress, it seems as soon as I get half a dozen or a dozen off of there, then we're into another month, and then the last months get added back on, but we are making progress, better than we were, so.
And folks, the importance of dog licensing is that it helps us ensure for safety's sakes that people, their pets have rabies shots. So if there is an incident, they can prove that they've had their shots and the dog doesn't need to be quarantined or anything like that. If not, then it's a lot worse. So it's important that folks go ahead and get their dogs licensed when on time. The property on 2890 Walton Mountain Road. Have we heard back? I think we're gonna send a letter to the owner.
I have not sent a letter out yet. I did track down a phone number. It took me about a week and a half to track down a phone number, but I tracked down a phone number for him, and surprise of all surprises, I'm not getting a response. I understand that property is quite behind on taxes and everything else. I really don't expect a response. But yeah, the next step will be to send out a letter,
Okay.
see if I can generate something that way. Again, my expectation isn't very high there. So we'll just keep working on that.
And did you want to address, we talked about using this as a classroom for some of your code classes and maybe getting some audio visual equipment?
You will talk about that now?
Yeah.
Tonight would have been a good night to have a
It
screen,
would have
wouldn't it? Yeah, one of the things that, I do, I do classes, most of them flood related. I do classes for realtors, I do classes for contractors, educating them on the flood regulations and all of that sort of thing. And I found in either municipality, cause I can use village or town, we don't really have the infrastructure there. for somebody to come in and set up and do a presentation, or for me to set up and do my own presentation. No projector, screen, whatever the case may be. So the thought had crossed my mind to investigate getting a projector and a screen, probably a ceiling mounted screen to hang right behind where the head of the table is. And with our rearranging the other day, kind of thinking, you know, we've got the ability to set up a projector here. So I did a little investigation on that. Projectors were a lot more money than I thought they were gonna be, so we're probably,
Surplus wall.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, we may wanna check, Walton, I can look at federal surplus, cause they have that kind of stuff.
There's a whole
office
bunch
furniture
of
and
them in
stuff, yeah,
DC here, we can use.
all the time.
I mean, screens, a good quality screen, depending on how we wanna pick, how big we wanna get it, we're probably looking at $200, $250 with the mount hardware and everything. The projector, on the other hand, you can go anywhere from $300 to $3,000, depending on what you want to spend.
Would you gentlemen mind looking into
Yeah,
that,
well,
see if you can
I'll
find?
just watch them.
Okay. Board, are you okay with pursuing that?
With the rest of it, you never know what you're gonna get.
Look at smart boards, see if they're on there.
They're on there too?
Yeah, I'm thinking, because the smart board, like what they use in school, and or they stay there, but you can use any computer to hook up to them.
Okay.
That might be something to look at.
I've seen them before. It seems like projectors are on there. I don't get into that. Usually stay away, don't look at that
Right.
section.
But you've seen them scroll by.
No, but they're on there, yeah.
And Steve, if we do get this, or once we get this, go forward, Bill is more than welcome to come up and use it anytime. If you have classes, that'd be better, so. for that.
We should start.
What's that?
We should start.
Yeah. Anything else, Steve?
I think that's enough for tonight.
Okay, well, I'm gonna jump in again. One of the things that, I know you've all seen us referring to Steve's reports in his notes. I was approached last month and, about why can't we include the reports from our department heads in our minutes? And Rhonda has, started doing that. So you'll see in our minutes, and when you go online, you'll see, copies of the reports. So the reason we don't pass them out right away is we wanna have a chance to look at them, and if there's any corrections that the board feels we need to make before we go publish them. But from now on, they'll be part of the, part of our minutes. Okay. Mr. Guidell, it's good to see you back, sir.
Thank you. The highway committee meeting didn't meet this past month or before. I was a little under the weather on the day that we normally met, but I've got a couple things here. Last month we talked about, we're talking here about smart boards and federal surplus. We had a discussion on getting generators, what it would be to get one for the church and things like that. And I called just to find out, and actually I spoke with with Kevin up there, and the town cannot purchase, lend, sell, etc., anything to any person, municipality, or business that's procured through the program for 18 months. After that, you can do whatever you want. So I guess I'll just leave it at that. On the stream grant projects that we had, we were awarded just one. I think I sent in my agenda or whatever that I do to everybody else. We did put in for two, which they asked for 2 applications, and we're only awarded one, and so we had to pick, and I think that we all kind of concurred to go with the Pines Brook street or grade control structures that are in there, and county planning is going to assist with that. I think they're going to be, was it March 2nd? Something like that, the first part of March, and they've done it for in the past, and I anticipate a successful outcome on that. Also, it's that time of the year to go out for bid for stone pipe, excavator with operator, crushing of gravel and that. Jake, I sent that. It's the same as it was from last year, just the date of the opening and get that into the paper. We'll have that for next month. Also, I inquired on the FEMA declaration, the DR 4322, which was last March's snowstorm that we had that was declared. We signed, the blue book came and signed, it was on November 28th, which was like 2 weeks, a little bit better. And I inquired about when the thought of payment might be coming, it's been a couple months. And as Steve had said, FEMA sometimes is a little bit slow, but the process normally is after that is signed, the P4, which is an agreement that you agree with the figures they come up with. That also is supposed to trigger the federal government from sending the check to New York State. And then New York State gets the check, and I have no idea what they do with it, how long they hold on to it. I've heard some horror stories, but I don't know.
120 days.
Or more, or
They
less.
can- They can up to 120 days.
So they hold, and
They don't have to, but you can.
and I won't
you
get
can-
into the state
You
and the budget
can
like
talk
this.
to them
But
about it.
anyway, I asked for a couple days ago, all the time I had just sitting with the computer in front of me. And actually Larry got back to me, he said he was gonna pump it up the chain and try to get an answer for me, and I haven't heard anything. Well, while we're talking about winter, for abrasives, through this morning, we've gone through 2,775 yards of material. I looked back yet last year, and we're right in the same ballpark as last year. I didn't really look at how much fuel we pump year to year, but from the amount of bills that were in there, and the same thing from last month, I think we've used a little bit more fuel to get to that. Overtime in that, I'm not sure where we are, I'm thinking we're probably all about the same, call it an average winter, same as last year.
So you're saying winter's over?
I don't think I said, although when I did,
What is the
I
feeling?
I did take a couple days off, and, yesterday was yesterday, Sunday, I did some paperwork. And after the guys and all that left, I drove out and drove into the salt shed, and I looked at the pile to see how it was, like, we hadn't thought enough, well, it's way to the back. So, we've got enough to go through, and we still got quite a pile out there, but we don't have it mixed. And normally through the winter, we mix, but once you open up the pile that's outside, because you get through all the chunks, once you get going, you get it's usually wetter, and then when it gets cold, it freezes, and it's tougher than having it all done in spring and sitting there all mixed up all winter, but took and moved that, and it's supposed to be a halfway decent week, hopefully no rain till the end of the week, but we'll get some more mixed up. We're not in any kind of problem or anything like that, it's just, it's a normal winter. The fleet has held up well, and the guys have done, I don't think been some overtime, we did a couple of different things when ice was coming at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. We did take, and I think you even came down and came out at 1 o'clock in the morning with us, and that was a long day, but I think that was probably the smartest thing we could do. We didn't put any trucks in the ditch, and I know nobody else did, but I think that's all that I've got, unless somebody's got any questions.
Just one thing, Walt, please tell you guys, we really appreciate the long hours they put in. Folks watching this, Walt's guys are there, 5 AM is when they pull out in the morning, so they're leaving early. When we're all shoveling our driveways so we can get out, they're out on the road, leaving their families behind to do it later when they get home, so we really appreciate all the work.
A couple of nights they were there till 6, 7 o'clock at night, and like I say, sometimes at 1 o'clock in the morning, I think that's the first time was my 18th winter that we've ever done that, but I'm thinking as I look back and talking to the guys afterwards, it was on a Saturday, and it's a long time, but the peace of mind of not driving on solid ice to get out when the weather's changing makes it. We're not fortunate enough to be able to go around the clock. The state is out there around the clock,
Yeah.
and you can still get into trouble, but that's
And
the peace of mind and
our
keeping
children
traffic.
going on school buses in the morning, that's real important too, and that's because they get out and back safe, because you guys are out early, making sure things.
Always like that.
Please do. Anything else for highway department?
Oh,
Really?
I gotta get the whole crew.
Oh, okay.
Madam?
I go out this time. I'm playing ball. Been for a while. Okay, everyone should have a copy of my financial report. I reported, that the warrant has come in. I am now, collected at 72%, which is $2.9 million. So that's, right about the same as last year, although I was thinking that it was coming in much quicker. But it just seems heavier this year for some reason. I would like to request permission to attend my annual Town Clerks Association Conference. This year it'll be held in Albany, April 22nd through the 25th. And I'll need a motion
I'll
for that.
entertain a motion to approve the clerk
So moved.
attending. Motion made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
Okay, attached, everyone should have a copy of the 2017 budget amendments. And this was done by our auditor, and if there's no questions, I will need a motion to approve those amendments.
So,
I have a motion made and, any comments? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passed.
Charlie, I know you're touching on this as well, as the annual financial report. Do you have that along with
Uh,
the auditors?
I was gonna kind of lump them together.
Okay, yep, that's fine. What I also have is the intermunicipal agreement with the town of Colchester. This is an agreement where the town of Walton agrees to, Walt, correct me if I'm wrong, to plow East Trout Brook Road, sections of East Trout Brook Road, and the town of Colchester is in agreement to plow some of Wilson Hollow Road in exchange.
Opposite.
Do I have it opposite? I'm
We do
trying to-
Wilson Hollow, which is, from the antique place just above where the Roundup branch, that's actually in the town of Colchester to the State Route 206. And in exchange for just about the same mileage, they do East Trout Brook Road from
206?
the 206 down to about, down past the, one
Just below
point,
the,
yeah, 1.4 miles, they're about the same.
1.4 is, yeah, and then
Yeah,
the other one is 1.2. So if everyone is in agreement with that, this has been in play for,
Oh my gosh, 5 years. I'm
yeah, I
sorry.
was gonna say at least 5 or 6 years.
I'll entertain a motion authorizing I as supervisor to sign the agreement.
so
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
And then you should also have a copy of the obsolete records. This is something that is done annually through the New York State Records Retention. We dispose of records that are no longer required to keep past the retention period. And I will need a motion. Yes, I will do a roll call on that one, sorry. Thank you. I need a motion
Okay.
and a second first.
I'll entertain a motion. Motion made,
Second.
second. Roll call vote, please.
Councilman Armstrong,
I,
Councilwoman Wood,
Aye.
Governor is absent, Councilman Rodriguez Benacourt,
Aye.
Supervisor Gregory.
Aye.
Motion carried. Alright. And I believe that's all I have. Yes.
The next is the assessor's report, and I believe I printed off a copy. I know I emailed you a soft copy of it. Oh, I'm sorry. And folks watching, this just came out this afternoon, so please give the board for taking a couple minutes to review it. Are there any questions? Okay. Then, I've asked Judge Lauser and Judge Gregory to come, and we're gonna have new town court hours, and gentlemen, would you care to explain what the new hours are? And
Yeah, the indication is rather than having court at 7 o'clock
Just have a seat, please.
on Wednesday nights, changing the court to start at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Judge Gregory, there's room up there if you want.
Still be on Wednesdays,
What's that?
Wednesday still.
Yes. Just the time will change.
But then how does that conflict with Rhonda's hours? Is that gonna be a,
As far as I'm concerned, there's only one day that we have a substantial amount of people. That would be the only day that would be a possible conflict. The other days are not gonna be a conflict.
which is not that many people you're saying?
What's that?
Which is not that many people you're saying?
Right.
Do we need to do anything for parking? Do we have reserve signs? Do we need to do anything to, because sometimes you have quite a load.
Well, that's only once, I wouldn't,
For that
I
one
wouldn't
day.
put signs up for that. You're not gonna, that's not gonna work out anyway, because they're gonna park all over. You know, you look for a parking spot, you look for a parking spot, that sign isn't gonna designate anything.
Do we need to change our access to the courtroom?
Well, as far as access to the courtroom is concerned, there's two things that are possibilities unless somebody else has some other idea. And that is to pull one of the windows out that goes from the hallway out here directly into the courtroom, or to capitalize on what's in Rhonda's office now and enclose across the bench that she has with the probably two areas that you could speak through it.
Similar to what the village does.
Yes, yeah, on the same line.
Tax collector, you have a lot of money on your table at times, so that's one of the risks of having a lot of traffic through that area.
And there's is there an issue in trying to get to the room, the bathroom, stuff like that for you?
Well,
You and your staff.
right, for me to access that, I would have to actually walk through the courtrooms to get to that. My main concern would be for anyone entering the court for an appearance or something to come through like a different entrance versus mine. What a lot of people don't realize is a couple nights when I have been here, when court is getting ready to start, and I think you're considering the DA night, that busy night.
Right.
That starts a little bit earlier, and if I'm here, people don't know that I'm not the court clerk. So I end
Well, you
up
know,
turning
I
off
thought
my
about
light.
that too, and it seems to me like a sign could be made right at the bottom of the stairs that go upstairs, where the railing is right there. A sign right there with an arrow that says court. Would seem to me like, you know, if it was of any size at all, you're walking straight in and looking straight at it. I mean, you gotta overlook it in order to do something else.
People are gonna overlook it, I guarantee.
Oh,
Well,
well,
Yeah, I'll play the
Better
devil's
than the
advocate, there's a sign on the village front door down there.
Oh, yeah.
On court night that says court, points you to the right, people inevitably come in, come up to the window, and start inquiring about court.
You know, I
Get some
thought
pretty good
about,
stories, but
Well, that's what, yeah.
we're one of the
That's what I would
windows
like to
too,
avoid.
but that building's stone out there, isn't it?
It is.
So that'd be quite a project, I
That'd be
think,
quite a project.
to do that, yeah. Cause that was my first thought, I said, sure, maybe we could put one in, when I come down here and look, I said, that might not be so easy.
Yeah, I didn't even look at it, I looked at it from the inside.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I'm not
that's
saying it
what
couldn't be
it's
done, but I think it'd be
And
pretty expensive.
It wouldn't be cost effective compared to doing it the other way.
Right.
for that one day, passing folks through this way as a holding until they're called in, would that work?
I would not recommend that, because then you've got people wandering around in here and you've got no oversight of them.
Well, don't we have?
That would be my
Don't we
concern, because I
have
would have to be
cameras?
their direct contact. Like, they would see me as the court clerk versus going in the other room.
You don't have cameras in here,
We do. We have cameras in here.
so by your desk, the ones that you're looking at. So
Yeah, they're on the monitor.
Those cameras are only good when you're looking at them.
Why are you changing from 7 till 2?
Convenience,
For
everybody,
public?
yeah.
We're hearing some of that is coming from the county, the ADA, the lawyers.
Because then there's people working, that you have a question, you can talk to them.
They're getting sick of night court. There's not very many night courts anymore.
Yeah, there's a number of attorneys that won't take cases out of our court because of the fact it is at night.
We've had the ADA, they've pretty much said that they'd like to see it daytime.
My only concern, I mean, I don't have a problem with it being daytime, and I can understand those things. My only concern is that we're not really set up for that to happen when Rhonda's here.
Well, we're gonna have to work out something, I think.
I think the easiest thing is if they were to come in here and sit in here versus going through the other door. That way it would eliminate me being contacted from every person coming in.
So they would come in the door, they would come in here
They would come right from the foyer right into
to
here.
here.
Right.
But the court would, the courtroom itself would stay where it is, so you're just talking about walking in that way?
Right. Or they could wait in here until,
Yeah, with their kids tearing the place apart.
but that's my problem too. That's what I'm saying, is that, you know, I only have 2 chairs there, and if I'm doing a death certificate or marriage, you know, license or something like that, that's quite private, I've got all that other that's going on.
Where do they sit, where do they go now?
They go into the courtroom.
At
So-
7, after I'm closed,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
So,
after hours.
I mean, I don't understand, I guess maybe I'm missing something. What changes if we have court too? Can't they still go in the courtroom or,
Sure.
I mean, but they could come through here and go in
But
there,
they
right?
can't go to her, but they go to Rhonda.
Right, but what I'm saying is maybe
But-
not, they can go through here and go in there. They can't hang out here, they can go in there and sit like they do now, right? They just have to go a long, long way around to get there. And I don't, Rhonda should be babysitting them out there someplace, but,
Well, she shouldn't be, they should be going right into the courtroom, that's why I say the sign
They
should,
don't.
such.
You can, you
Well,
can,
that's-
can you
yeah.
put a temporary partition that you can move, on the one day that kind of keeps them from going to your territory there?
But then people that are coming to me
Right.
are redirected as well.
Well, then you can have a little poster that says, for town clerk, push here. And you can,
Like
and
those-
you
one of those
can,
no
and you
whining
can come
ones?
and get them, I mean, you know what I'm
I'll
saying?
open like a little
I mean,
sliding window.
what's your average load on a day like that?
Well, she can't
It
possibly
varies,
guess that.
right?
It varies, yeah.
like,
I mean,
hunting
tax
tax
season,
season.
I could
yeah.
have 15 people within that short span of time, you
And she could
know.
have none on that.
Yeah, I mean, it
So can
varies.
you designate a waiting area, maybe put a couple of chairs along the stairs there?
I don't have room.
Yeah, so,
Yeah, there's much room out there.
Yeah, I don't have-
maybe we can look, building and grounds can meet with Ron and judges and decide if there's a way we can make this work. Whether we gotta put up another doorway someplace, I'm really not sure.
Put a sign with blinking lights.
Could always use the village court.
What do you say, Steve?
You could always use the village court. It's direct access.
Is that an option, judges?
No.
Well, one judge says no, the other one just smiled.
Not for me, that's, I don't know how they keep going without getting shut down there, having that court upstairs.
One of the challenges is handicapped accessibility to
I just don't believe, I can't believe that they've gone this far. and
When I was
got
judge
that.
down there once, we had an inspection by the state. A woman came down and did everything, went through everything, and the only thing she did was complain all the way up the steps, all the way down the steps, all the way up the steps, all the way down the step, and they never wrote it up. Never wrote it up.
Judges, the new hours start, when?
March 1st.
March 1st, okay.
Well, can they start March 1st if we don't have a resolution? I mean, I think that has to be subject to whether we can resolve that by then. I mean, it's only beginning of February,
Yeah,
so I mean,
gives us
hopefully you can, but.
2 weeks.
Well, the problem is we have to notify every police agency in the county.
I just think that that could be, if we have to start building something to change it, that's a pretty ambitious time frame.
Well, I don't know,
Making it
it's,
April first?
not that I have to say so on this, but I don't, they think that something has to be done as of March first. I mean, you could switch it, get started, see what works, and see where your issues are, and then decide what to do in terms of if you've gotta build
I
something.
think they've already sent out notices.
Yeah,
What if
Who's
we,
they? Who's they?
the clerk,
The clerk.
Your clerk?
yeah.
How would she send out notices we hadn't talked about yet?
We're
What's
a
that?
different
How would
entity
she
than the rest of the
send out
town. That's
notices
the
we
difference.
hadn't talked
It's not really our
yeah,
decision.
yeah, and that's, I checked with some of the other towns to see how their courts are, and I think I didn't do all other 18 of them, but the ones I talked to, I think only one was night court, the rest of them gone to day court.
I don't have a problem going to day
And
court, I
there's
just
the
think that we need
courts.
to do that in the space we have and working around what we've got. You know what I'm saying? That just might take some more time than until March first.
As a short-term solution, what if we go with the poster on an easel, so folks come in and put it right by the door so that it says court clerk right there, so folks see that.
And you can put a small divider so people can not just look at her office in the back, you know, or whatever.
Yeah, the fire code guy probably isn't gonna let you do that, 'cause then you're blocking off egress.
Are you the fire code guy?
Yeah.
That's what I thought, yeah.
My concern would be the safety and especially during tax season.
We'll get your porta
That would
potty
be-
on the other side.
And, yeah, and that too.
Well, I think that the money in taxes, that's a consideration and that's where we are. I mean, so that March first is like right in there.
Right until May.
You don't have an armed officer doing court, right?
Yeah,
Could you
hold court in here once a month, or once a week,
I'm
hold
sorry?
court in here temporarily?
I have a flag.
can't,
Use this for courtroom.
technically, we use this, but we're not allowed to,
By who?
You're
Who
breaking
said-
the law.
yeah. Actually, it has
That's bad.
It has to be a raised bench.
And that's not portable, I'm assuming.
Might be cheaper to put a bench.
Well, that's why
Hard
I
up on the
suggest
table.
when they come in here, either wait here or go in that way.
Well, I don't know.
And then that way, I'm out of the loop, and then people coming to see me
Yeah.
are
Go
not
directly.
mixed in
Right.
with it, yeah, in with any of that. That would be a direct. Kind of like, you know, how the village has a separate entrance for the clerk business and then a separate entrance for the court business.
There isn't a back way in, back here into this room, is there?
No,
Like by the bathrooms or anything? Well, the ceiling falling, we'll just make a bathroom. But I mean, that might be a longer term solution, that there's a back entrance that court comes in that way. I don't know, I'd have to go out and look and see where the,
If they
By
get
the record,
confused at the
you
village,
come up
at the village
Why,
hall.
why can't she hold
That would
her
be the
business
only way.
over here?
or
During
through
those
the
hours.
office.
what?
Why can't she hold her business over here?
Her?
Yeah.
Cause she's, her computer and everything, and all her files are there. Why
So
would
what?
why would she move?
So what? Use a laptop or wireless over here.
Oh, cause that's
For the-
convenient when
for
you
the-
work in an
for-
office.
Yeah.
Huh?
No,
my
I wouldn't do
files,
that, I wouldn't do that on a bed.
I would have to
Big
put
deal
my
is-
files on a
I
roller.
don't see what the big deal is, but you know.
It's cause you're a doctor, not an
Okay.
office person.
Okay, so,
Your patients
So
are
I have my
vulnerable.
office.
short term, let's go ahead and, you know, first of all, folks, again, the new court hours are gonna be on Wednesdays, starting at 2 o'clock, and that'll be starting at the 1st of March.
Sorry.
Short term, we'll put a easel up there with a poster on it directing people, and yes, we are running a risk if there's a problem in this room, then we'll readdress that, but for the time being, we'll send them down this way, and another, to send them back that way to the court. And if that, and long term, I'd ask the capital committee if you could take a look at what our options are structurally, if it's entrance in the back, or
What's in that back office way back in the corner? There's a doorway back here, right?
Is that what you're talking about, the records?
Over, I mean,
Yeah. The
Past the
records
bathrooms, you
room.
mean?
yeah.
You would have to actually go through the records room, or if you go to the right, that goes outside and around the back of the building
Well, now-
that way.
The records room's down the ramp, right?
It's down the stairs.
Right, but isn't there over on the far corner, that porch, here, isn't there a door?
if that comes into your area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that
There's
goes
a
into the
little
back.
office, okay.
Yep.
All right. I didn't know
That
if
little
there was-
office next to you, that's where it
Yes.
goes into?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if there was a
Do you
way we
use
could
that
go
little
through there, or,
I
About the
do.
bottom of the stairs, the record room is to the left, what's to the right, you actually come in off the sidewalk off
So
Pine Street.
let's,
well, we'll look at
We'll have
it.
to
so
look
we'll
at
look
that,
at
to
some-
see if there's a
uh,
better way to
Just
do
for
it
the
that way, I don't know.
And
it's
just,
I
not,
don't know all the ins and outs of doing it.
He's so-
it's not optimum, having them come through here, and it may not work. If it turns out that it doesn't, then we'll look for a long-term solution. That way, at least, we can accommodate the daytime court and try to minimize the impact for the clerk and her staff. Okay, so, and there's a contract issue that would ask the judges to stand, wait for when we go into executive session too. So, that brings us up to the supervisor's report, and I have several items. First of all, Mr. Matt King has agreed to serve on the zoning board of appeals. And we formally appoint him. I'll entertain a motion to appoint Matt King to the Board of Zoning Appeals. Have a motion, do I have a second? Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passed. The, we've had an audit of our court and the tax collector, both came out good.
and we received our annual financial report
Ah, okay,
as well.
good. Did we receive anything in writing on the reports, the audits of the court and the tax collector? I have not seen any.
We did not, no. Just stating that there was, everything was satisfactory in the cover letter.
Okay, so, again, part of the annual update report, and again, folks, this is municipality, towns, villages, and schools have to once a year do a thorough report on their finances. And we have our auditor come in and do that. Goes through all of our books to make sure everything is good. It's reported to the state, and you can go online to see what the rating is for the community of the municipality. So again, we did good, both our AUD, our annual report, and the two audits. So for the minutes, I'll entertain a motion to approve the audits as approved in AUD of both the court and tax collector. Do we need to have those as separate?
No, it can be one.
So moved.
I have a motion made to approve the audits. Motion made and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passed. The update on the title searches, again, just to refresh your memory, we had the two properties, one in Upper Delaware, one on Park Street. It turns out that it was a mapping error. The assessor has advised Delhi, they forwarded to the mapping technician on the 29th of January to get that corrected. So that should be fixing itself shortly. The town has done a couple of new business initiatives. We've sent letters to Baxter International Incorporated, and what they manufacture saline bags for hospitals. They have their main site in Puerto Rico. They were devastated by the hurricane. So we sent a letter suggesting that they come to Walton to set up manufacturing facilities here. I did receive a call back from the international real estate person for the company. She asked for a little bit more information. I forwarded her that. I sent her the village, the town's Chamber of Commerce, your website, the town's website, and also the county economic development. So it's a cold call, but again, Patty, thank you. That was a good idea that Patty Wood had to do that. All they can do is say no, but at least we've tried, and maybe we can bring in some more jobs into town.
Apparently that's where all the saline bags are made, are like in Puerto Rico, and so they were like devastated with so it affected hospitals here, so. We don't have many hurricanes, so hopefully we're good.
The town has also approached Harbor Freight Tools and asked them to consider coming to Walton as well. So again, we'll keep trying and see if we get any takers. I had a request from a couple property owners to limit hunting on their property. New York City had acquired land adjacent to them, very close. They've asked, much like we did on Palmer Hill Road, where homeowners said, you know, we don't mind hunting, but they're too close. In this case, there's several homes that are very close to the property. So I request the board's permission to forward a letter to New York City asking that the property located on Marvin Hollow be exempt, no hunting be allowed on that property. They're okay with hiking and whatever else, but just they're concerned because of the proximity of the homes. So,
You have a motion?
yes, I'll entertain a motion to approve the supervisor to forward a letter.
I would move that.
I have a motion, do I have a second? Yes?
So when their neighbors hunt, whether they do, because I know for a fact people hunt in their own backyards with rifles.
In the
In Marvin House,
Marlow House.
yeah.
Well,
I'm
this is
just, I'm
on-
just
Yeah,
asking
this is just on city
if
land,
this
yes?
is a particular individual issue or what?
This is just for the city land that they just acquired, right? That we're
Right.
talking about?
Right.
So they can still hunt on their own land.
Right, but the thing is, people have probably traditionally hunted on this land
Yeah.
in the past,
Before the city bought
before the city bought it, so is it, that they just don't want people up there hunting? Or,
Yep.
I mean, is it more of a safety issue now than, and it may be because there may be more people hunting
If
because
it's-
it's city land
If
than
it's
when it was
public
private
land instead
land.
of a private land that
Yeah.
somebody's letting them, I would think that's more of a
But
safety issue.
You do have a good point, I mean, what's the reason, you know, is it?
Yeah.
The letter requests, we would like the town of Walton to support our request to have New York City-owned public land use restrictions considered for this property. Primarily, we would request that no hunting of any kind be allowed, as there are 3 full-time residents adjacent less than 50 foot to the property. And discharging any weapon, including firearms, bows, could be extremely dangerous to the residents and most likely illegal to New York City hunting rules and regulations.
How big an area is this, how many acres does this
Uh,
entail?
50,
56, 58,
yeah,
sounds.
it's 50,
some
it's in the
reason sounds
50.
familiar.
See, I mean, so they could be within 50 feet of a residence, but at the other end of it, could be way far, I mean, without actually looking at the property, I really don't imagine.
Well, the regulation is you're not supposed to be hunting your house anyway, so, and now,
Right, I think that's what they're referencing when they say it's probably.
my concern is that
But
this is
other-
gonna be exploded to other.
I
And
see
one
what
of
you're
the,
saying.
one of the things that we liked about those properties, the few things that we like about the city properties, that they allow
That
all
they
the
allow
things
it.
to happen, right? So,
I see what you're saying.
I don't know if they have a specific concern. Have they caught somebody in their backyard with a gun? Did they have a hole in their wall somewhere? I mean, what is it's just,
And does it have to be the whole 56 acres or whatever, or just for
Right.
a
was there an
certain amount of
issue?
acreage by the houses or?
Let me, then, shall we table this? I'll get
We need
the,
more information, yeah.
okay,
There will be more info, I mean, I think that,
I mean, I don't think we're doing our due diligence, we just say no to every request like that without seeing, pretty soon, nobody will be hunting any place around here.
okay, the next thing on the agenda is, the seeker request, for New York City, and it's, expansion of the, stone quarry up on Murphy Hill. And, basically what the, state is asking is, do we wanna be lead agency or let them be lead agency? I would recommend that we, stand aside and let New York State be the lead agency for that, but, we've got the whole report. So again, with, no objection from the board, I'll entertain a motion that, we allow New York State to be the lead agency. Motion made, seconded, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passed. The, on the January 30th, Mr. Bill Willis and I went up to Stanford and visited slaughterhouse up there, Eklund Slaughterhouse, and a chance to see an actual slaughterhouse in operation, what they're doing, and learned a lot of good lessons and tips for when the one comes to Walton. We still have not heard anything more from Adam as to the status of that. Afterwards, we went over to Eklund's Farm Supply, and they have an electronic sign, digital sign in front of the building that they use to both advertise their business, but also they open it up to advertise for other community businesses, or if somebody wants to have an announcement of Sally's birthday's on the 21st, happy birthday Sally, things like that. I told them that pros and cons, there's first of all, and what they're thinking is maybe placing it on Veterans Plaza. Now, we know Veterans Plaza, that's our flood mitigation effort, so whether it would go there or not. Long-term cost, $75 to $130 a month is the monthly electricity cost, depending on if you would regain that in sales, who would manage it. The signs themselves could cost as much as $100,000 or more. They sell their ads for about $300 a month. They reduce it a little bit for if it's a yearly, if you take a 12-month contract. So.
I don't think we wanna get in the advertising
I don't
business, do
either.
we?
And I don't think the last place we wanna put the plans that we've all set down as a community is a Veterans Plaza. I have a big digital sign there. I don't think that fits in at all with
That's not my
with everybody's vision.
No.
Plus, I think people have a hard enough time getting by with business, not let alone
They can put
spending
it on
$200-300 a month
they can put-
advertising on our signs.
They can put it on the side of Dollar General.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a business, so I mean, I can see them
Right.
doing that
Yeah.
and getting revenue from their sign.
Yeah.
But we're not a business, and I don't think we wanna be a business, so that would be my thought.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I wanted to
Yep.
bring it to the board, so thank you. The next thing on the agenda is watershed
Agricultural county. It's close.
For folks that are looking at the agenda, I apologize, that should not be watershed acquisition. It should be agricultural council, the WAC. Notified us recently of 1,031 acres on Dunk Hill, the Rasmussen property has applied for a conservation easement. So, again, just letting the public know.
So that means the Rasmussens are keeping that in the family, and they're just getting a conservation easement, or they get this easement and they're selling it, and what does that mean exactly?
What it means, well, first of all, tax-wise, taxes will still be paid on it. Only it'll be shared between New York City through the Watershed Agricultural Council and the homeowner. So as long as that continues, then the municipalities will still get tax revenue from it. What it does is put severe restrictions on what that property can be used for in the future.
Does it
So
include living in there? I mean, there's a house there that nobody's
There
living
is.
in, I'm assuming.
there's of the 1,031 acres, there's approximately 9 acres that will be retained for the residents. And afterwards, if y'all, I have a map to give you a feel of what it is. So there's certain areas that they can, do around the house and perhaps build in the future. But the big bulk of the area never can be developed forever, so.
I think they'll get tax relief by that, doing that. Alright.
Along those lines, the map on the table up here is a depiction of what land New York City has, starting from before the FAD, the MOA, and through the years. So Afterwards, feel free to take a look at that, just received that this afternoon. I have copies of the State of the Town message. Again, just an opportunity to let people know what's going on in Walton, what's happened in last year, what our vision is. Probably the best part is we're doing very good economic, fiscally. The town is in good fiscal shape. This past year, we had a top to bottom revaluation, which went well. It made sure everybody had their fair share of taxes. Kraft challenged their assessment, and it came down some, but again, we had a neutral, a fair deal with them, best we could get. And New York City land acquisition, the county did a study, and there's only 6% of the township of Walton that is developable property. So, and again, you'll see more of that when you look at the map here. Some of the key accomplishments, Steve already mentioned the flood gauges. Veterans Plaza, we heard an offer for the fitness again. That's one of our success stories. More and more the community is reaching out and using that, and that's good. Verizon and Sprint are both down there, and along those lines, I went down, when I was down this afternoon, they were physically raising the antenna, the Verizon antenna, to put on the tower. They hope to have construction for the Verizon done by the end of the week. Their goal is to have it up and running by the end of the month, but that really depends on when Verizon activates it. But again, so we're making good progress. If you go down, you see, I'm sorry?
It's really coming.
Yes, it is there. And broadband service, again, we heard at the last meeting, and the village also, Delhi Telephone has received permission to move forward on reaching even more out of the town areas. So again, when they have a chance to do their analysis of that, we'll get a map out. But again, a lot more of rural Walton will be covered by broadband capability from Delhi Telephone. And parts of the village as well, so good news all the way around. The Water Street project, we're moving forward on that. Still hope to start seeing soil move this summer. The Breaking Motors relocation, contracts have been signed, so again, that's moving forward as well. And the Highway Department, over 20 miles of pavement resealed this last year. And again, one of the good things for the county, for the town, is Walt and his folks have worked real hard in saving us money on equipment. We got a 2007 pickup truck for $700. That saves, and normally go for 9,000 or so.
Still runs, right?
So, and again, our clerk, we're fortunate to have the clerk that has worked real hard with gaining us $50,000 a grant to replace the town shed roofs. And we mentioned earlier, our floodplain manager giving us a rating of 8 for the community rating system. So it's been a successful year for the town. What you can look forward to for the next year is we're working on the town's comprehensive plan. That's our vision for where we're going to go in the future. Walton revitalization, we had workshops last summer, kind of looking at what can we do to improve the community, Delaware Street in particular, and how can we utilize Water Street when it's completed. The town's top priorities are the River Edge Trail development, enhancing the Veterans Plaza, and after reclamation is done on 8793 Delaware Street, that's the Breaking Motor property, how we can utilize that to make it more attractive as people come in. The mayor and I have been working on parking on Delaware Street and crosswalks in town. Third Brook Bridge, we're working to try to incentivize the state to advance.
You don't think Breaking Motors is attractive to come into
Not
town?
when it's gone.
The Third Brook
Rethinking
Bridge, working with DOT to go ahead and enhance that bridge. And finally, working with the mental health clinic and bringing that into town. So again, those are just the highlights. We have copies here in Town Hall of the full report, and folks can go online to see the full report of the state of the town.
Charlie, thank you for summarizing all of that. I think that's a great thing, that state of the town message. that's a fairly new thing, and I think that's a good thing.
One of the things that we're starting to work on is the host community benefit program, and this deals with the landfill, the dump. It's it's within the town of Walton. We're re-examining the payment that the town gets for having that in sight. Looking for the actual agreement. It's should have been renewed every 5 years, I believe. It's long overdue. So the folks will hear more about that, but again, trying to, yes, we're hosting that, but it has an impact on the town residents that live in the proximity, trying to sell their homes and all. So we'll be moving forward on that. And, and next, as we start using more and more the Veterans Plaza for more and more, looking at offering the Chamber of Commerce the use of Veterans Plaza for the summer concert series. So again, I'll request permission for the
Can I
board.
comment on that, Charlie?
Certainly.
Actually, this topic was discussed last spring at one of the Chamber's meetings. And at first, it was appealing because of the higher visibility and also the fact that people who attend the concerts would have access to the businesses in the area. However, there was a safety aspect, and a lot of the regular attendees to the concert are young couples with young children. And it was felt that the park was a much safer location, hardly any traffic on Griswold Street, and they travel at a much lower speed than they do on Delaware Street. And of course you have the playground equipment, so the couples like the idea that they can come and enjoy the concert, and the kids have the playground equipment and the woods in the back. And also, some summer nights, June, July, and August, it's still pretty darn hot at 5:30, 6 o'clock. And you find that people come early to cluster under the many shade trees. There's no shade trees at the Veterans Plaza. So I talked personally to a lot of the regular attendees, and everyone who comes to the concert, particularly those with the young children, like the idea of the concert staying at Bassett Park. So the Chamber did make a decision that we will remain, the concerts will remain at Bassett Park.
Okay.
But thank you.
Okay. County updates, okay. The Department of Public Works, still moving forward. I think there may be an additional presentation given at the Board of Supervisors meeting at the end of the month. It's last Wednesday of this month. I believe the 20th, yep, on the 28th. So still waiting to hear what the options are. So again, nothing really new on that other than possibly hearing an update at the next meeting. For the mental health facility, at last month's meeting, we were asked from a person in the audience, Lily, I think you may have been the one that asked the question if there's going to be an appraisal.
That was not me, but I would like to know.
Okay, well, okay, then, it was asked, and I wanted to get back, there will be appraisals of the property. And I've had a lot of folks come and ask me, talk to me about their druthers, whether it's on Delaware Street, whether it's on Fancher. The next step, what we're waiting for, is for the analysis. They did borings down on the Delaware Street property. They did digs and borings already on the Fancher Ave property. We're waiting for the technical analysis from the consultants on that. Once we have that, the next step will be to, they'll do their analysis. We will have a public hearing down here in Walton to address the concerns, to hear folks' concerned and what their druthers are, and get input from the community. Once we have that, traffic study will be part of the long-term analysis, looking at the two facilities. So, again, no decision's been made yet. I've had questions, I've inputs from folks favoring Delaware Street, folks favoring Fancher Ave. So we'll see what the results of the analysis are. That's, I think that's all I have for Delhi right now. Committee reports, do we have any committee reports?
Guidelines for the use of Veterans Plaza, did you bring this?
No, I didn't. But I'll meet with you afterwards.
Okay.
If not,
I'm gonna finish.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the abstracts as printed in the agenda. I have a motion made,
Second.
second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Oh, it's a property.
Passed. Then at this time, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session. I've asked the judges to please stay, and we'll be talking contract issues. Do I have a motion? Motion made, do I have a second? Motion made, second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passed. Folks, thanks for coming. And
Patty, one